If President Biden comes back to the U.S., what would be a win? What would he be able to say, this was my trip and this was what made it awesome?
Well, great to be with you, Alex. What will make it a win for the president is if he can deliver messages to the community in the Indo-Pacific and messages back home that resonate with both audiences. In the Indo-Pacific, of course, reinforcing the fact that the United States is capable of leading a global effort to thwart what Vladimir Putin is doing in Ukraine at the same time that it can reinforce that it wants to continue to be a security leader in the Indo-Pacific and an economic partner to the countries there. That is the message that he wants to deliver there while he's not going to China on his first visit to Asia. He'll only be in South Korea and Japan and speaking with other leaders in the Indo-Pacific from there. He's certainly going to be talking about China and dealing with the highly competitive relationship that the United States has with China, with all of those leaders. Back home, as we saw in his visit to a Samsung factory, he's talking about what the United States needs to be doing in order to have Indo-Pacific partners as part of the American economy. Samsung investing in a semiconductor chip facility in Texas in order to make our supply chains more resilient, employ more American citizens, strengthen the U.S. economy at home.
What does failure look like, Amy?
Failure, unfortunately, Guy, would, I think, be the most possible, although I do not think probable, in the economic message that the president wants to deliver to Indo-Pacific countries, that the United States is not just a strong security partner, which it certainly is, and it's demonstrated already, but it is going to be, the president will be rolling out the Indo-Pacific economic framework while he is in Tokyo. He'll be inviting other countries as to participate in the launch. The Biden administration has been very busy since last fall talking about this economic framework, which has 4 broad pillars, and inviting countries to join. And so far, in advance of leaving, the White House signaled that there could be as many as 13 participants in this launch of the economic framework, Indo-Pacific economic framework. Failure is if the countries say, this sounds okay, but we don't think it delivers what the United States must do to be an economic leader in the region.
Amy, can a country sign that agreement and also still be friends with China?
That's been a real point of contention for especially a lot of the Southeast Asian countries, but even for South Korea, for the new president of South Korea. How does he balance, obviously already having a very strong security relationship and rock solid bilateral alliance with the United States? And the South Korean leader needs that as we're dealing with instability in North Korea right now. But the South Korean president has not, as he threatened to do while he was running for office, disavowed the necessity of having a strong economic relationship with China. And so what we have heard is for this Indo-Pacific economic framework, the Biden administration watered down some of the requirements to join so that, 1, countries don't have to take a strong stance against China, and 2, they don't have to sign up for something that they're not sure that they want to remain in. And so participation next week in the launch does not mean that all of these countries are going to end up signing onto this new framework agreement.
Amy, if North Korea fires a series of missiles while the president is in the region, how does the United States respond?
Well, I think the United States is in a pretty good position to deal with that. Jake Sullivan talked about that possibility as they were looking at contingencies while the president is in the region. The North Koreans have a habit of doing missile launches while there are Americans in the region. And of course, they haven't done a nuclear test in a few years. And so that is a very, very strong possibility. I think the U.S. government is going to reinforce with South Korea that they'll enhance that missile defense systems in South Korea. The US government has not been willing to respond positively to South Korea's request that there be nuclear weapons stationed on the southern part of the Korean Peninsula, because that would be so provocative, not only for North Korea, but also towards China. And so the US feels that it has the ability to continue to act together with partners and allies. Unfortunately, less possibility to work with China on that, but to come together in the face of a more significant North Korean threat.